Well, good morning, everybody. I thought it'd be fun to continue great musical roles and characters this morning. I hope everybody's good. And it's I hope you're staying cool inside because it's certainly not cool outside. But in any event, I'm going to start with the musical Applause. Applause was an interesting transition. Comden and Green alongside Coleman decided that this would be a really interesting, maybe it was Julie Stein. I just got my life confused. We'll talk about that in a minute. This was based upon the movie All About Eve. And when they started writing it, they really couldn't get the movie script at all. So they had to use the short story that it was based upon and drive from that. Now, Lauren Bacall had at this point in time just finished a run in a play called Cactus Flower, but she was not cast for the movie because they didn't think she was box office enough, if you can imagine. They gave the part to Ingrid Bergman. So she was at a career lull. When they came to her and they asked her if she'd be interested in doing this, she said, well, certainly I would be, but I really don't sing and I really don't dance. And it's the story of an aging actress who's frustrated with the role she's getting and where she is in her life and the younger man she's dating. And this young actress climbing the ladder, trying to destroy her life by trying to take it over and targeting it on her. Of course, the very famous movie with Bette Davis, but Bacall set the world on fire on this. And Eve Harrington is played by Bonnie Franklin. Also, I don't mean Bonnie Franklin. Bonnie Franklin was in this also. But it's quite a story. I'll get the cast straight in a second while you're listening to the music.
Miss Channing, if I ever dreamed that anything I did could possibly cause you any unhappiness or come between you and your friends, please, believe me.
Oh, I do. And I'm full of admiration for you. If you can handle yourself on the stage with the same artistry you display off the stage, well, my dear, you are in the right place. Welcome to the theater, to the magic, to the fun, where painted trees and flowers grow and laughter rings fortissimo and treachery sweetly done. Now you've entered the asylum, this profession unique. Actors are children, playing hide and ego seek. So welcome, Miss Eve Harrington, to this business we call show. You're on your way to wealth and fame. Unsheathe your claws, enjoy the game. You'll be a bitch, but they'll know your name. From New York to Kokomo. Welcome to the theater, my dear. You'll love it so. Welcome to the dirty concrete hallways. Welcome to the friendly roaches, too. Welcome to the pinches from the stagehands. It's the only quiet thing they do. Welcome to the Philadelphia critics. Welcome, Librium and Nebutal. Welcome to a life of laryngitis. Welcome to dark toilets in the hall. Welcome to the flop you thought would run for years. Welcome to the world of fears and cheers and tears. Welcome to the theater. With some luck, you'll be a pro. You'll work and slave and scratch and bite. You'll learn to kill with sheer delight. You'll only come alive at night when you
Miss
And
Channing.
Eve was Penny Fuller. I know where I was going this morning. And Strauss and Adams, of course, wrote the music with lyrics by Comden and Green. Boy, you talk about one of the nastiest parts ever. It is certainly Eve. Well, Billy Flynn, the lawyer in Chicago, was not a good guy at all. I mean, he's there to just collect a fee and take after whoever they can. And of course, the background of how Chicago got made is really so interesting because Gwen Verdon knew she had maybe one part left in her, and she'd been after buying the rights to stage Chicago for years. When Mary Watkins finally, the original author, finally dies, she knows this could be her chance, and she buys it from the heirs. Of course, Bob Fosse didn't want to do it. He was too busy. He was editing the film Lenny at this point in time. So she tells him, don't worry, I'll get Hal Prince to do it, which was all Bob Fosse needed to hear. So what happens next is, Billy Flynn, is portrayed by Jerry Orbach, is this attorney who will take on any case for any fee. And of course, he presents in this particular picture that Roxy is his puppet and she'll do whatever she tells him.
Tonight, we're going to bring you some tantalizing parts from each of the musicals who've been selected as the best of the season. You've already seen the opening from A Chorus Line, and now another nominee, Chicago. Big and brassy, this is a biting and cynical musical version of a 1920s murder trial in Chicago, in the Windy City of Chicago. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present the silver-tongued prince of the courtroom, the one and only Billy Flynn.
Everybody ready? I don't care about expensive things, cashmere coats, diamond rings don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. That's what I'm here for. I don't care for wearing silk cravats, ruby studs, satin spats don't mean a thing. All I care about is love. Give me two eyes of blue, softly saying I need you. Let me see her standing there, and honest mister, I'm a millionaire. I don't care for any fine attire Vanderbilt might admire. No, no, not me. All I care about is love. All he cares about is love. Now, maybe you think I'm talking about physical love. Well, I'm not. Not just physical love. There's other kinds of love, like love of justice, love of legal procedure, love of lending a hand to someone who really needs you, love of your fellow man. Those kinds of love are what I'm talking about. And physical love ain't so bad either. It may sound odd, but all I care about is love.
That's what he did.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-boo-boo-boo. Ba-ba-ba-ba-boo-boo-boo. Honest to God, all I care about is love. Show me long, long raven hair flowing down about to there. When I see her running free, keep your money, that's enough for me. I don't care for driving Packard cars or smoking long buck cigars. No, no, not me. All I care about is doing the guy in who's picking on you, twisting the wrist that's turning the screw. All I care about is love.
You know, a lot of people don't realize Jerry Orbach is
Tonight, we're going to bring
Broadway leading man. He did Chicago, he did Promises, Promises, and for 20 years, he was the most used leading man on Broadway. Now, these two murderesses were not exactly good guys either. Gwen Verdon and Chita Rivera originally creating the roles of Roxy and Velma. Neither of them really behaved, and you know, they're murderers, and they got off because a good criminal attorney, you know, just like OJ, which has made Chicago regain its notoriety. It was after the OJ Simpson trial when they could see that the press could manipulate a jury that Chicago had a resurgence.
Billy Flynn's the name, Chicago's the game. It's the razzle-dazzle 20s, and I'm a lawyer. But I'm not the only criminal in the show. My prize clients are a pair of devious dames who go by the names of Velma Kelly and Roxy Hart. And, uh-oh, here they come now. So, hey, be careful. Watch your back and, you know, all that jazz.
Come on, baby, don't paint the town. And all that jazz, I'm gonna lose my knees and roll my stockings down. And all that jazz, start the car, I know a whoopee spot where the gin is cold, but the piano's hot. It's just a noisy hole where there's a nightly brawl and all that jazz. You do. And all that jazz. Gotcha. Whoopee. And all that jazz. It's just a noisy hall where there's a nightly brawl and all that.
I do see there's a question or a comment, so let me just kind of get to that. That is Bebe Neuwirth and Anne Reinking. I'm not sure which Wright you were referring to. It was Anne Reinking who was cast as Roxy Hart, and she went to Gwen Verdon to get her to be the dance captain for this production. And it was also Bebe Neuwirth who was in Frasier off and on, and Bebe Neuwirth has had a phenomenal career as well. Chicago is now the longest running American musical of all time. Well, then there's one of the ultimate bad guys. I mean, you want to get a role that it's going to really enhance your career, and certainly playing Miss Hannigan in Annie is one of those career moves that really can work for you. This was Dorothy Loudon in the original, and I heard she didn't have to act so hard. She really did hate kids.
Villains survive too, no matter what the cost to others. And Annie has its villains: Rooster, Lily, and that evil, wicked, dreadful, talented Miss Hannigan.
Ah, Rooster, how did the two of us ever end up like this on the skids?
I remember the way our sainted mother would sit and croon us her lullaby.
She'd say, kids, there's a place that's like no other. You got to get there before you die.
You don't get there by playing from the rule book.
Ah, nah, you stack the aces.
You load the dice. Mother dear, oh, we know you're down there listening. How can we follow your sweet advice to easy street, where you sleep till noon.
Talk about living the good life. You know that kid Annie? Oh, God, I hate that rotten orphan. She's gonna be adopted by Oliver Warbucks. The Oliver Warbucks, the millionaire? The billionaire, you dumb. She's gonna live in that big mansion up on Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue?
Yeah.
He don't live on Fifth Avenue.
He don't. Where does he live? Oh, yeah. Easy Street. Easy Street. Where the rich folks play. Moving feet.
Talk about three wonderful bad guys. Well, Judge Turpin and Beetle Bamford and Sweeney Todd set the whole story in motion because it is the judge who sentences Sweeney to go to Australia, where he then finds his way back 15 years later to seek his revenge on the judge. And of course, we all know that he's spurred on by Mrs. Lovett and goes terribly wrong. But in any event, these two are really among the worst. And we think at this point the judge arrives in the tonsorial parlor that Sweeney has now just recently set up, and Sweeney is hoping to finally just take out his revenge on the judge. Now, many people could say Sweeney Todd's not exactly a good guy, but he really was destroyed by this judge, and he takes out. He's sort of a victim, but of course, then he makes the fatal decision to take his revenge out on humanity, which is again spurred on by this judge. This gorgeous song by Sondheim, Pretty Women. The audience, if you don't know what's going to happen in the scene, you sit there just cringing, waiting, and then you see what happens.
Oh yeah.
Now then, my friend, now to your purpose. Patience, enjoy it. Revenge can't be taken in haste.
And if we wed, you'll be commended, sir.
My lord. And who, may it be said, is your intended, sir? My ward.
Pretty as a rosebud.
Pretty as her mother.
What? What was that?
Nothing, sir, nothing. May we proceed, sir? Pretty women. Fascinating. Sipping coffee. Dancing. Pretty women are a wonder. Pretty women sitting in the window, standing on the stair. Something in them cheers the air. Pretty women
Silhouetted,
stay within you.
glancing,
Stay forever.
breathing lightly.
Pretty women. Pretty women. Blowing out their candles. Or combing out their hair. They leave and when they leave you and vanish, they still are there when you are pretty women at their mirrors. In their garden, letter writing, or picking, weather watching, or they make a man sing. Roof of heaven, eyes for living. Pretty women, sir, pretty women. Yes, to pretty women, all the pretty women.
Joanna marries me Sunday. Everything's set.
There is indeed a higher power to warn me thus in time. Joanna elope with you, deceiving slut. I'll lock her up in some obscure retreat where neither you nor any other vile, corrupting youth shall ever lay eyes on her again.
And that's the way it goes. Meanwhile, Mrs. Lovett, the character here being portrayed by Patti LuPone, she's the one who starts to manipulate Sweeney into more bad behavior. And she's one of the most evil characters ever, the devil incarnate, many people think. Those of you who went to see Sweeney Todd with me a few weeks ago, really pretty amazing what you saw Annalee Ashford do. But here was Patti LuPone's version. What's happened is the judge has left, and Sweeney had to quickly kill somebody who was about to blackmail him, and now they have to figure out what to do with the body, and Mrs. Lovett certainly sets the plot in motion.
But you know me. Bright ideas just pop into me head, and I keep thinking. Seems a downright shame.
Shame.
Seems an awful waste. Such a nice plump frame. What's his name? Has. Nor it can't be traced. Business needs a lift. That's to be erased. Think of it as thrift, as a gift, if you get my drift. Now, seems an awful waste. I mean, with the price of meat, what it is, when you get it, if you get it. Good, you got it. Take the rest of business never better using only pussycats and toast. Now a pussy's good for maybe 6 or 7 at the most. And I'm sure they can't compare as far as taste.
Mrs. Lovett, what a charming notion, eminently practical and yet appropriate as always. Mrs. Lovett, how I've lived without you all these years, I'll never know. How dear
Lots of other gentlemen will be coming for a shave. Mr. Todd, what is that sound?
Those crunching noises pervading the air.
Yes, Mr. Todd, yes, all around.
It's man devouring man, my dear.
But who are we to deny it?
These are desperate times, Mrs. Lovett, and desperate measures must be taken.
Here we are, hot from the oven.
What is that?
It's priest. Have a little priest.
Is it really good?
That it's too good, at least. Then again, they don't come, it sins or the flesh. So it's pretty fresh.
Awful lot of fat.
Only where it's sat.
Haven't you got poet or something like that?
Now you see the trouble with poet is how do you know it's deceased? Try the priest.
Heavenly! Well, not as hearty as bishop, perhaps, but they're not as bland as curate either.
And good for business. Always leaves you wanting more. Trouble is, we only get it in Sundays. Liar's rather nice.
If it's for a price.
Order something else now to follow, since no one should swallow it twice.
Anything that's lean.
But then if you're British and loyal, you might enjoy Royal Marine. Anyway, it's clean, though of course it tastes of wherever it's been.
Is that squire on the fire?
That's enough, so look closer, you'll notice it's grosser.
Looks thicker, more like thicker.
No, it has to be grosser, it's green.
Story of the world, my love.
Save a lot of grapes, do a lot of relatives favor.
Is those below serving those up above?
Everybody shakes, so there should be plenty of flavor.
How gratifying for once to know that those above will serve those down below.
See, we've got Tinker,
No, something pinker.
Taylor,
Something paler.
Potter,
Something hotter.
Butler,
Something subtler.
Locksmith, lovely bit of Clark.
Maybe for a lark.
Then again, this sweep if you want it cheap and you like it dark. Try the financier, peak of his career.
That looks pretty rank.
Well, he drank, no, it's bank cashier. Never really sold, maybe it was old.
Have you any beetle?
Next week, so I'm told. Beetle isn't bad till you smell it and notice how well it's been greased. Stick to priest. Now this may be a bit stringy, but then of course it's fiddle player.
No, this isn't fiddle player. It's piccolo player.
How can you tell?
It's piping hot.
Then blow on it first.
Story of the world, my sweet.
Oh, Mr. Todd, what does it tell?
Is who gets eaten and who gets to eat.
And Mr. Todd, who gets to sell?
But fortunately, it's all so clear that everybody goes down well with beer.
Since Marine doesn't appeal to you, how about Rear Admiral?
No, it's too salty. I prefer general.
With or without his privates? With his extra?
What is that?
It's fop, finest in the shop. Or we have some shepherd's pie peppered with actual shepherd on top. And I've just begun. Here's the politician so oily, it's served with a doily, not one.
Put it on a bun. Well, you never know if it's going to run.
Try the fryer, fried it's drier.
No, the clergy is really too coarse and too mealy.
An actor that's compacted.
Yes, and always arrives overdone. I'll come again when you have judge on the menu.
Wait, true. We don't have judge yet, but we've got something you might fancy even better.
What is that?
Executioner!
Have charity towards the world, my pet.
Yes, I know, my love.
We'll take the customers that we can get.
Highborn and low, my love.
We'll not discriminate great from small. No, we'll serve anyone, meeting anyone, and to anyone at all.
And those are two of the best roles you could possibly snag in any Broadway production. Now, Eva Peron's not exactly a good guy either. This is where Patti LuPone launched her career, actually, in the early 1980s. Her career.
Our last nominated musical is
here to make a musical out of two rulers of a country who are absolutely despicable, and you sit there and you watch it, and it's fascinating.
Evita. The scene is the bedroom of Juan and Evita Peron. As they discuss the feasibility of his bid for the presidency, a crowd begins to gather in the street below.
Dice are rolling, the knives are out. Would-be presidents are all around. I don't say they mean harm, but they'd each give an arm to see us 6 feet underground.
It doesn't matter what those morons say. Our nation's leaders are a feeble crew. There's only 20 of them anyway. What is 20 next to millions who are looking to you? All you have to do is sit and wait. agree to be called.
There again, we could be foolish not to quit while we're ahead. For distance lends enchantment, and that is why all exiles are distinguished. More important, they're not dead. I could find job satisfaction in Paraguay.
This is crazy defeatist talk. Why commit political suicide? There's no risk, there's no call for any action at all when you have unions on your side.
Head on, head on, head on, head on, head on. The chains of the masses untied. And oh, Argentina, the voice of the people cannot be denied.
There is only one man who can lead any workers' regime. He lives for your problems, he shares your ideals and your dreams. He supports you, he loves you, understands you, is one of you. And oh, could he love me?
Oh, Argentina, the workers' battle song. Oh, Argentina, the voice of the people rings out loud and long.
Now I am a worker, I've suffered the way that you do. I've been unemployed and I've starved and I've hated it too. But I found my salvation in better nation. Let him save us as he saved me.
And oh, Argentina, a new age about to begin. And oh, Argentina, we face the world together and no dissent within. It's annoying that we have to fight elections for our cause, the inconvenience having to get a majority. If normal methods of persuasion fail to win us applause, there are other ways of establishing authority. We have ways of making you vote for us, or at least of making you abstain.
Bill has resigned from the army and this we all know. The death and the sagas of those he is marching with now. He supports you, he loves you, understands you, is what I do. And oh, could he love me?
Argentina, the chains of the masses untied. Argentina, the voice of the people cannot be
Very clear what these leaders are after, and that's to do things their way. Forget the government. Then, of course, there's the little plant that was going to take over the world, Little Shop of Horrors, the puppet of the plant, Audrey 2. A great character part, except you only get the voice.
Oh boy, here we go again. Come on, I haven't got much left. Just give me a few days to heal, okay? Then we'll start again on the left hand and...
Me.
I beg your pardon?
Feed me.
Tui, you talked. You open your trap, you thing, and you say...
Feed me, Carbon. Feed me now.
I can't.
I'm starving.
Look, maybe I can squeeze a little more out of this one.
More.
There isn't any more. What do you want me to do, slit my wrists? Oh, boy. Look, I got an idea. I'm gonna go down to Schmendrick's and pick you up some nice chopped sirloin.
Must be blood.
Tui, that's disgusting.
Must be fresh.
I don't want to hear this.
Feed me.
Does it have to be human?
Feed me.
Does it have to be mine?
Feed me.
Where am I supposed to get it?
Feed me, Seymour. feed me all night long. That's right, boy. You can do it. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long. 'Cause if you feed me, Seymour, I can grow up big and strong.
You eat blood, Audrey, too. Let's face it. How am I supposed to keep on feeding you? Kill people?
I make it worth your while.
What?
You think this is all coincidence, baby? The sudden success around here. The press coverage?
Look, you're a plant. An inanimate object.
Does this look inanimate to you, punk? If I can talk and I can move, who's to say I can't do anything I want?
Like what?
Like deliver, pal. Like see you get everything your sacred, greasy, hot desire. Serves you like a Cadillac car on a gas shot on jackpot. How about a date with Hedy Lamarr? You're gonna get it if you want it, baby. How'd you like to be a big wheel, dining out for every meal? I'm the plant can make it all real. You're gonna get it. Hey, I'm your genie. I'm your friend. I'm your willing slave. Take a chance, feed me in. You know the kind of eats, the kind of red hot treats, the kind of sticky, licky sweets I crave. Wow. Come on, CeeLo, don't be a putz. Trust me, in your life will surely ride a key touch. Show a little initiative, boy. Work up some guts and you get it.
I don't know.
Come on, boy.
I don't know.
Lighten up.
I have so many strong reservations.
Tell it to the Marines.
Should I go and perform mutilations?
You didn't have nothing till you met me. Come on, kid, what will it be? Money? Girls. One particular girl. How about that, Audrey? Think it over. There must be someone you can 86 real quiet like and get me some lunch. Think about a room at the Ritz, wrapped in velvet, covered in glitter. A little Nicky gonna clean up those zips and you'll get it.
She had like a Harley machine, tooling around like I was James Dean. Making all the guys on the corner turn green.
So go get it. Woo, woo, woo. If you wanna be profound, if you really got to justify, take a breath and look around. A lot of folks deserve to die.
Wait a minute. That's not a very nice thing to say.
But it's true, isn't it?
No! I don't know anyone who deserves to get chopped up and fed to a hungry plant.
Sure you do.
Well, we all know that. You know, an interesting thing, we haven't seen Rick Moranis in a long time. His wife, they had 2 kids together, and his wife died of cancer at a very young age, and he gave up acting to raise his kids. He didn't need the money, and he felt he could, acting and what you needed to do to make a movie just interfered with being a single parent, and he gave it up, and he never looked back. Art critics are also bad guys at times because they get, in fact, critics in general can be bad guys because they create lots of problems for the artist. In Sunday in the Park with George, in the second act, we find out how struggling George is taken apart by the art critics. Again, man.
I mean, I don't understand completely.
I'm not surprised.
But he combines all these different trends.
I'm not surprised.
You can't divide our today into categories neatly.
Huh?
What matters is the means, not the end.
I'm not surprised. That is the state of the art, my dear. That is the state of the art.
It's not enough knowing good from rotten.
You're telling me.
When something new pops up every day.
You're telling me.
It's only new, though, for now.
Nouveau.
But yesterday's forgotten.
And tomorrow is already passé.
There's no surprise.
That is the state of the art, my friend. That is the state of the art.
He's an original.
Was.
I like the images.
Some.
Come on. You had your moment. Now it's George's turn.
It's George's turn. I wasn't talking turns. I'm talking art. But is it really new? His own collaborator.
Oh, yes.
It's all promotion, but then that is the state of the art, isn't it?
Whoa.
Art isn't easy.
Even when you have a mastiffs fighting for prizes.
No one can be an oracle. Art isn't easy. Suddenly, you're past it.
Compromises and put it allegorical.
Art isn't easy. Art isn't easy. Any way you look at it. Here's George now.
All right, George. As long as it's your night, George. You know what's in the room, George. Another chromaloon, George. It's time to get to work.
George, look, all these lovely people in front of our painting.
George, I'd like you to meet one of our board members. This is Harriet Pauling.
Oh, what a pleasure. And this is my friend, Billy Webster.
How you doing? Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Well, I'll just leave you three to chat.
Harriet was so impressed by your presentation.
This is the third piece of yours I've seen. They're getting so large.
What heading does your work fall under?
Most people think of it as sculpture.
Sculpture?
I like to think of myself as an inventor as well as a sculptor.
It's so unconventional for sculpture.
Say cheese, George, and put them at their ease, George. You're up on the trapeze, George. Machines don't grow on trees, George. Start putting it together. Art isn't easy, even when you're hot.
Are these inventions of yours one of a kind?
Financing art is easy, yes. Financing it is
I
not.
take a year to
A
make.
vision's just a vision if it's only in your head.
The minute he finishes one, he starts raising money for the next
No one gets to see it, it's as good as dead.
Work.
It has to come to light. I put the names of my contributors on the side of each machine.
Some very impressive people. Well, we must speak further. My family has a foundation, and we're always looking for new projects.
Bit by bit, putting it together,
Family is all you
piece
have.
by piece. Only way to make a work of art. Every moment makes a contribution. Every little detail plays a part. Having just the vision's no solution. Everything depends on execution. Putting it together, that's what counts.
Actually, the board of the foundation is meeting next week.
Ounce by ounce, putting it together.
You'll come to lunch.
Small amounts, adding up to make a work of art. First of all, you need a good foundation. Otherwise, it's risky from the start. It's a little cocktail conversation, but without the proper preparation. Having just a vision's no solution. Everything depends on execution. The art of making art is putting it together. Bit by bit, link by link, making the connections. Drink by drink, fixing and perfecting the design. Adding just a dab of politician, always knowing where to draw the line. Lining up funds, but in addition, lining up a prominent commission. Otherwise, your perfect composition isn't going to get much exhibition. Art isn't easy. Every minor detail is a major decision. Have to keep things in scale. Have to hold to your vision. Every time I start to feel defensive, I remember lasers are expensive. What's a little cocktail conversation? If it's going to get you your foundation, lead you to a prominent commission, and an exhibition in addition.
Art isn't easy, trying to make connections. Who understands it? Difficult to evaluate. Art isn't easy, trying to form collections. Always in transit.
Then when you have to collaborate.
Art isn't easy, any way you look at it.
Dot by dot, building up the image. Shot by shot, keeping it a distance doesn't pay. Still, if you remember your objective, not give all your privacy away. A little bit of height can be effective, as long as you can keep it in perspective. After all, without some recognition, no one's going to give you a commission, which will cause a crack in the foundation. You'll have wasted all that conversation. Art isn't easy.
Hey, it's the brain.
Even if you're smart.
Little technical screw
you
up
think it's
tonight,
all
Dennis?
together, and something falls apart. Art isn't easy. Overnight, you're a trend. You're the right combination. Then the trend's at an end. You suddenly last your sensation. So you should support the competition. Try to set aside your own ambition, even while you jockey for position. If you feel a sense of coalition, then you never really stand alone. If you want your work to reach fruition, what you need is a link with your tradition. And of course, a prominent commission. Plus a little formal recognition so that you can go on exhibition. So that your work can go on exhibition. Be nice,
I
George.
was hoping it would be a series of 3, 4 at the most.
You have to pay a price, George.
We have been there before, you know.
You never suffer from a shortage of opinions, do you, Blair?
You never minded my opinions when they were in your favor.
They like to give
I
advice,
told your work
George.
from the beginning, you know that. You were really on to something with these light machines once.
You knew, George. They tell you to the blue, George. You knew or else you're through, George. And even if it's true, George, you do what you can do. Bit by bit, putting it together. Piece by piece, working out the vision night and day. All it takes is time and perseverance with a little luck along the way. Putting in a personal appearance, gathering supporters and adherents.
But he combines all these different trends.
Mapping out the right configuration, starting with a suitable foundation.
He's an original.
Was lining up the prominent commission and an exhibition in addition. Your little dab of politician. Their little bunch of publications. What position? Depends on preparation. Or do people have the suspicion that it's taking all your concentration? The art of making art is putting it together. Bit by bit, link by link, drink by drink, link by mink. And that is the state of the art.
Critics do not make it easy. Then, of course, one of the great bad parts that you could play. I mean, if you want to get cast in Les Mis, a lot of people would want to play Jean Valjean, but Javert could be more interesting. I mean, he's got these ideals that just don't connect really with what he's trying to accomplish. Les Mis.
Out in the darkness, a fugitive running, fallen from God, fallen from grace. God be my witness, I never shall yield till we come face to face, till we come face to face. He knows his way in the dark. Mine is the way of the Lord. Those who follow the path of the righteous shall have their reward. And if they fall as Lucifer fell, the flame, the sword, stars in your multitudes, scarce to be counted, filling the darkness with order and light. You are the sentinels, silent and sure, keeping watch in the night, keeping watch in the night. You know your place in the sky. You hold your course and your aim, and each in your season returns and returns, and is always the same. And if you fall at the Lucifer fell, you fall in vain. And so it must be, but so it is written on the doorway to paradise, that those who falter and those who fall must pay the price. Lord, let me find him, that I may see him safe behind bars. I will never rest till this I swear by the stars.
even more bad guys than Les Mis. It's Thenardier.
Welcome, monsieur. Sit yourself down and meet the best innkeeper in town. As for the rest, all of them crooks, rooking the guests and cooking the books. Seldom do you see honest men like me, a gent of good intent, who's content to be master of the house, doling out the charm, ready with an handshake and an open palm. Jack the saucy tale makes a little stir. Customers appreciate a bon vivant. Glad to do me friends a favour. Doesn't cost me to be nice, but nothing gets you nothing. Everything has got a little price. Master of the house, keeper of the zoo, ready to relieve them of the Sue or two. Water in the wine, making up the bite, picking up their knickknacks and they can't see straight. Everybody loves a landlord, everybody's bosom friend. I do whatever pleases Jesus, don't I bleed them in the end. Master of the house, wicked as your eye, never wants to pass a body passing by. Servant to the poor, butler to the great, comfort the philosopher in lifelong faith. Everybody's good companion, everybody's around. But lock up your valises, Jesus, man, I'll skin you to the bone. Enter, monsieur, lay down your load, unlace your boots and rest from the road. This way's a ton, travel's a curse, but here we strive to lighten your purse. Here the goose is cooked, here the fat is fried, and nothing's overlooked till I'm satisfied. Food beyond compare, food beyond belief, mix it in a mincer and pretend it's beef. Kidney of a horse, liver of a cat, filling up the sausages with this and that. Residents are more than welcome, bridal suite is occupied. Reasonable charges plus some little extras on the side. Charging for the lice, extra for the mice, 2% for looking in the mirror twice. Here a little slice, there a little cut, 3% for sleeping with a window shut. When it comes to fixing prices, there are lots of tricks he knows. How it all increases, all in bits and pieces. Jesus, it's amazing how it grows. Master of the house, quick to catch your eye, never wants to pass the by the passing by. Serve it to the poor, bang it to the ranks, after that the loss of our lifelong thanks. Everybody's doing companion, yes, and everything is gone. Dirty bunch of geezers, Jesus, what a sorry little lot.
That I would meet a prince of God Almighty. Have you seen what's happened since? Master of the house isn't worth my spit. Comforter, philosopher, and lifelong shit. Cunning little brain, regular Voltaire. Thinks she's quite another, but what a cruel trick of nature. Landed me with such a louse. God knows how I've lasted living with this bastard in the house. Master of the house. Master of all. Comfort the philosopher. Right me, Lord. Servant to the poor, butler to the great. Hypocrite and toady and inebriate. Everybody bless the landlord. Everybody
of the great moments from Les Mis. And of course, if you're going to be if you're looking for a part and you want to make a mark, those are two. Yeah. Well, we'll end today with this. I mean, this is maybe one of the classic bad guys ever, willing to murder for the love he has for this young woman and her voice, just ending 35 years on Broadway. And those of you who were in London with me, we got to actually go under the set, see how it works, and see how those candelabra come up out of nowhere. It was really a fabulous experience. And I thought I had the clip here. Well, we're not going to get that today. And we'll go to Miss Saigon, who also has one of the worst characters ever, the engineer who, for his own purposes, is trying to get to the United States using prostitution and manipulation of people as his ticket to do so.
The last of tonight's nominated musicals is Miss Saigon. A smash hit in London that quietly tiptoed into New York this spring. With an advance ticket sale almost equal to the British national debt. And only slightly more front-page coverage than General Schwarzkopf. I say that again, Schwarzkopf. It helps to clear the throat. Set in Saigon during the last harrowing days of the Vietnam War, Miss Saigon is an extraordinarily powerful piece of modern musical theatre. Here, with Tony nominees Lea Salonga, Jonathan Pryce, Willie Falk, and Hinton Battle, Miss Saigon.
Sweet as a sweet in Bel Air, the American dream. Girls can buy tits by the pair, the American dream. Bald people think they'll grow hair, oh, the American dream. Call girls lining Times Square, the American dream. Bums there have money to spare, the American dream. Cars that have bars take you there, the American dream. And on stage each night, Fred Astaire, the American dream. Schlitz down the drain. Pop the champagne.
It's time we all entertain my American dream. Polio's for 10% down. The American
Well, we've covered a lot of characters today, and that's what I think makes this somewhat interesting and fun. I know there's a couple of comments here. Let me see what everybody's asking in the chat. Thank you, Susan, for saying that. And I appreciate those of you who said you had a good time this morning. Also, I noticed somebody saying something here. In any event, thank you, Alan Armstrong's in a British show, New Tricks. Okay, I had to figure out what that was all about, and that's great. Thanks for sharing that as well. So in any event, next week we'll continue looking at some of these great roles and the ones that, you know, maybe I'd want if I were going to actually audition for something. You never know. I hope you had a great week. Some of you may be going to see Shucked with me on Sunday. I look forward to seeing you live. And there's 2 new messages. Just let me look real quick. Thanks, Joan. It was great seeing you yesterday, by the way. Okay, everybody. See you soon and take care. Bye-bye.